Sowing Mycospawn and Troll of Khazad-dûm have been banned in Legacy, and today we're playing the Epic Storm. Let's go check it out. It's been about a month and a half since my last The Epic Storm video. In fact, you can find that one in the card above, where I debuted the exact list in front of you, which means that there are no post-ban changes to the Epic Storm. I know that Sowing Mycospawn and Troll of Khazad-dûm were banned, but it doesn't really impact the Epic Storm. And I think if you want to understand why there's no changes, you have to look at the expected winners and losers of the metagame. Decks like Opal spells, still a big winner. It did not have Undercity Informer banned. Reanimator, yes, Troll of Khazad-dûm was a hit, but that deck is still incredibly powerful, which means that you want the Leyline of the Void in the sideboard still. And then if you look at winners, control decks are winners, which means that you would want something like, I don't know, Galvanic Relay back in the main deck. That said, the best decks in the format are still Mono Blue Painter and Omnitel because they leverage the card stock up, which means that Galvanic Relay isn't really good against those decks and you would still like the Thoughtseize. So there's no real changes. I mean, that's why I haven't updated a video with the new list, because there is no new list. This is what I would recommend. And in the Storm Discord, a lot of people have been asking, hey, is the Epic Storm playable right now? I've noticed that you haven't been playing the format. Yes, in fact, I still think that this deck list is still fairly good. The issue is that I don't like current Legacy. I mean, yes, I record it for the channel, but I'm not going to spend my free time playing Legacy. And I think that's ultimately me being unhappy with the decisions that Wizards of the Coast has made the last few ban cycles. I'm loving Pauper right now, and instead of being miserable playing something I don't enjoy, I'd rather be happy playing something I do, which is Cycle Storm and Pauper. So if you're not a Pauper fan, I'd recommend checking out those Cycle Storm videos because I truly love it. And I still love the Epic Storm. It is my favorite deck. But right now I'm just enjoying something else. So today I'm going to get the rust off and play the Epic Storm again because I haven't played it since that last video. Hopefully I still play well, all that good stuff. And I really do appreciate you watching. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, support the channel. And I'll see you in the first round. Don't go anywhere. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. You can also show your support by becoming a member of this channel. You get sweet perks such as badges, emotes, early access to videos, exclusive members-only content, and access to our members Discord section. As you increase the tiers, there are other rewards such as shop discounts, sideboard guides, and even free donation decks. Click the join button down below to find out more. We also have other ways you can support us, like theepicstorm.com/shop or submitting a donation deck via theepicstorm.com/donation decks. That's enough for now. Let's play some Magic. Welcome to match number 1. We are on the draw and we're going to keep this hand. It's fairly powerful and I like doing broken things, so let's do it. I have no idea what our opponent's playing today. Bloodstained Mire. They fetch for a Badlands and Thoughtseize. So we're going to be losing our copy of Lion's Eye Diamond here. Otherwise, I would have had a very busted turn 1 hand where you discard your entire hand to Lion's Eye Diamond, you flashback Echo of Aeons, and then we had a ton of mana. So unfortunately, turn 1 Thoughtseize happens, but we could always find another Lion's Eye Diamond in order to combo out. Or even, we could find a Surveil land, and then brainstorm the Echo on top of the deck, surveil it into the graveyard, and then flash it back. And as expected, they take the Lion's Eye Diamond. Okay, well, we found our Surveil land. We'll just pass the turn. They cycle an Oliphant. So they're on Rakdos Reanimator. Okay, they grab another Badlands. And now reanimate. The Elephant is on the battlefield. They're at 11. We're not going to grab the Surveil land now. I want to do it on my turn. Taiga. Okay, so now we're going to fetch. We'll grab the Undercity Sewers. And now with this trigger on the stack, we'll play the Brainstorm. Okay. Let's put back Verdant Catacombs and the Echo of Aeons. And now we'll surveil the Echo into the graveyard. Play out a Mox Opal. We'll play Chrome Mox. And I'm going to exile the Burning Wish here. I just think that it's better to have the mana and not choke myself on that, because there's a lot of payoff spells in the Epic Storm. So I don't think you necessarily need to deny yourself that mana, especially when you have Gamble to be able to find additional copies of Echo of Aeons. So we're going to take the hit from Oliphant here. Oliphant gives another attacking creature +2/+0 and trample. It does not give itself that. So right now we're only looking at 6 damage. They attack with the Elephant, so we will fall to 13. Ouch. And this, I have no idea what it does. Wasteland. So this is more of a scam deck, I think, than Rakdos Reanimator. Okay, whenever our opponent draws a card, it deals 1 damage. So I'm going to take 7 damage off of the Echo of Aeons. That actually does matter here. So we'll float a blue off the Mox Opal. And then we'll play another. Tap this. And now we'll spin the wheel on Echo of Aeons. So if this Echo doesn't convert, we might be dead. Because I can't draw 7 again. And it does, in fact, convert. So I believe we have a win here. So I'll play Lion's Eye Diamond. Play Lion's Eye Diamond. Oh, I definitely have a win because the storm count's low. Otherwise, I would have gone Burning Wish for Beseech the Mirror into Gaia's Will. But I don't even need to do that because the storm count is so low. So now I'll play Burning Wish holding priority. And we'll sacrifice the Lion's Eye Diamond for black. Sacrifice for red. Click OK. Click yes on the Burning Wish, and now we'll select Tendrils of Agony, and we will Tendrils of Agony them for 12. 6 copies. Click, click, boom. Alright, so that was game number 1. This looks like a more Rakdos scam style strategy, so the question is, do we still want Leyline of the Void? Well, I don't think that Thoughtseize is particularly good here unless we're expecting Mindbreak Trap out of the sideboard, which our opponent could have. So the question is, like, do you want Veil of Summer? Maybe. Or do you think that maybe you should just have neither and then accept them reanimating an Oliphant or whatever? If they have a Gristlebrand, it's a little bit different, but I don't know if they do. You could also say on the draw, I don't want Veil of Summer, which I think is very fair. So let's try this. We'll board out the Veil of Summers, at least for game number 2. Alright, game number 2, we're on the draw. I will keep this hand. It has Leyline of the Void, which we know is at least somewhat valuable against this Reanimator style strategy. And then something I like about this hand is if our opponent plays turn 1 Thoughtseize here, they cannot... okay, well, the Dauthi Voidwalker does matter here. My hand is good against discard is my point. It's not so great against Dauthi Voidwalker, though. I don't love that. They take the Brainstorm, which I am not surprised by. Bloodstained Mire. We will fetch. Let's grab Badlands. And then I'm going to gamble for Lion's Eye Diamond. We discard the Lion's Eye Diamond. Pass the turn. They play a Mountain. And they attack for 3. I go to 16. The 4th gamble. We'll play Gamble. Select Lion's Eye Diamond. We get to keep that one. We'll play it. Play the Bloodstained Mire. Pass the turn. They play land number 3 and activate the Bloodstained Mire. No Surveil lands here. This will knock me down to 13. End step, let's fetch. And I think I just want the... Maybe I don't want Commercial District. I was thinking double red for the gambles, but I'm not convinced that actually matters. Let's grab the Undercity Sewers. Think we want the land. Play Taiga. Let's see if I can win a 50-50 on gamble. We'll select Beseech the Mirror. I cannot win a 50-50 on gamble. Okay. They have land number 4. And now they swing. I'm at 9, running out of time here. Dark Ritual. I think I'm going to hold. Because now if I draw Beseech the Mirror or Burning Wish, next turn I can put Song of Creation into play. They're going to use the Dauthi Voidwalker. Okay. So they're going to cast my own Beseech the Mirror. Oh, they're going to Brainstorm. That's interesting. Okay. And with them getting rid of the Dauthi Voidwalker, if they don't play another, I could gamble for Echo of Aeons. They have 4 cards in hand. Dark Ritual. A lot of mana. For a Hardcast Oliphant with 2 cards left in hand. Okay. Another Leyline of the Void. We'll play Dark Ritual. And then we'll gamble for Echo of Aeons. The 4th gamble! And now we'll add 3 blue. We're going to leave 1 blue mana floating, just in case I draw Brainstorm. What does this do? I have 4 available mana. 5. Lotus Petal is 6. So I can Beseech the Mirror out of the sideboard. We'll play Lotus Petal. I lose to a Mindbreak Trap, but I don't think I have much of a choice. I suppose I could Thoughtseize into Galvanic Relay, but then I'm dead on board to the Oliphant. So we'll play Burning Wish, which would be Storm 6. Beseech the Mirror would be Storm 7. Bargain the Lotus, or bargain the Mox Opal. Beseech the Mirror off of the Leyline of the Void would be 8. Tendrils of Agony would be 9. So it's exactly lethal. So I'll say yes. We'll select Beseech the Mirror. Bargain the Mox Opal. We'll select Beseech the Mirror. We'll play the Beseech the Mirror. Sacrifice the Leyline of the Void. And now we will Tendrils of Agony for exactly lethal. Boom. Well, the Leyline of the Void looked pretty good there. And we got the win. So now we are 1-0 to start off this Legacy League. Let's get the next 4. Moxfield.com is the easiest way to build a Magic deck online. They support over 30 formats, including Legacy and many other Eternal formats. There are so many options to view decks the way that you want, from text view to individual cards, mana value, and even card price. There's also light mode and dark mode. My personal favorite feature is card tags. This way you can sort cards by function. Moxfield supports collection tracking, scryfall search, decklist feedback, and so much more. Follow me on Moxfield.com so you can stay updated on all of my decks. Welcome to the second round. We are on the play. Our opponent's Goldfish history is literally nothing but Opal spells, so that's what I'm going to put them on today. We'll keep this hand. It has the ability to play turn 1 Echo of Aeons, which is something we definitely want here. Our opponent is now taking a mulligan down to 5. Okay, so they've kept their 5-card hand. We will fire off a gamble. Let's grab Badlands, play out the Lotus Petal, and now we'll gamble. If I have to discard the Opal, I'd rather do that, but I want the Lotus Petal. So we'll Lion's Eye Diamond. We lose that. So now I have to gamble again. Grab the Lion's Eye Diamond. Play the Diamond. Opal. And now the question is, do I pass and hope that I get a turn, or do I fire it off? I think I'm going to fire it off. I know our opponent mulliganed to 5, but they could easily have a 5 that just wins on turn 1. So I'm going to do that. And we're just short of a win here. I'm 1 mana short. So I could Thoughtseize pass and then untap and have a deterministic win. I think I like that. So we'll Thoughtseize. And they're on a spicy deck today. Not exactly Opal spells. This is a turn 1 win if I pass the turn. That's scary. So if they draw, I could take the Lotus Petal. And then if they draw a land, I'm probably dead. Yeah, I mean, I just have to take the Lotus Petal here. Their hand is actually just discard proof. Outside of the Lotus Petal. Okay. Pass the turn. Hope that you don't kill me. They drew Unmask. So now they could take my Burning Wish and I no longer have the deterministic kill. Yep. There goes the Burning Wish. And they pass. Chrome Mox. Okay. So we'll play out the Chrome Mox Imprint. Gamble. And now we'll flashback Echo of Aeons. Storm is 2. We found Brainstorm, but nothing else to do here. We'll fire off the Brainstorm. And I did not hit. Get rid of the Taiga and Chrome Mox. We will Thoughtseize. Take their Entomb. Pass the turn. They play a Swamp. I'm going to Surveil in response and then Veil of Summer. I have enough mana where I don't care about burning a Lotus Petal. I think finding a card I actually want is more important. And there's the win. So I will now Veil of Summer. Okay. And another Dark Ritual. So this should be pretty easy now. We don't have Peer into the Abyss on the sideboard anymore. That was one of the things we ended up cutting when we were putting in the Leyline of the Voids. That said, there is a Beseech the Mirror that just goes and grabs the Gaia's Will that makes this sort of brainless. So we'll grab the Beseech the Mirror. Float some mana off of the Mox Opal. Sacrifice the Mox Opal to bargain. And now we'll just grab the Gaia's Will. We'll play Gaia's Will from exile. Replay that Mox Opal. And the opponent concedes. So that's game number 1. And Leyline of the Void comes in again. I'm glad we're getting some usage out of it in this video. I believe in my last one, we didn't actually use it. Like, I put it in there and I faced nothing but blue decks the whole video. So I'm glad we're getting some mileage out of it now. I'll keep in 3 copies of Veil of Summer. I don't expect this opponent on like a Tin Fins style strategy to be playing Mindbreak Trap. So I'm going to leave in 3 copies of Veil of Summer. Game number 2, I've opened up Leyline of the Void in my 7-card hand again, which is pretty good. So we'll put that onto the battlefield. Assuming they don't have a first turn discard spell, this hand does Echo of Aeons. But, I mean, they probably do. The question is, what do they take here? It's probably the Lion's Eye Diamond, but we'll see. And they do, in fact, take the Lion's Eye Diamond. So depending on what my draw step is, I could gamble for Echo of Aeons, or I could Burning Wish for it. All right, and because we drew Lotus Petal, this is now a gamble for Echo of Aeons game. We will play the Chrome Mox, imprint the Gaia's Will, so we won't have this later on for Beseech the Mirror. We'll play Chrome Mox, imprint the Burning Wish, and this gamble actually does get to intend as Red Entomb here. I know that I joke about how gamble's just Red Entomb, but this time we are intentionally wanting it to be Red Entomb when we put the Echo of Aeons to the graveyard. And then next turn I can flash it back, assuming that our opponent doesn't have like a Fairy Macabre in their hand. They play a Polluted Delta, and now they're fetching for a Bayou. Witherbloom Apprentice. Okay. Lion's Eye Diamond? Bloodstained Mire. Okay. Think we'll fetch, grab the Underground Sea, and spin off of the Echo. We could be dead if they find the other half of the combo here. I don't have Gaia's Will, but I do think I have a win. So I can Burning Wish for the sideboard copy of Beseech the Mirror, and then chain Beseech the Mirrors until Tendrils of Agony, and that will be a win. So we'll play the Chrome Mox, imprint the Song of Creation, make a red, make a white, hold control. We'll play the Burning Wish, and I'll add black. So Storm is currently 6. We'll grab Beseech the Mirror. And now I'll Beseech the Mirror, sacrificing the Mox Opal, Storm 7. Beseech the Mirror, this will be Storm 8. We'll get rid of the Leyline of the Void. Beseech the Mirror again. Sacrifice the Gaia's Will Chrome Mox. And now we will grab Tendrils of Agony. Tendrils! Boom. 20 life total. So if our opponent could play a bunch of free spells here, they could gain life off the Witherbloom Apprentice, but they would have needed 4 free spells in response. So I didn't expect that to happen. And now we're 2-0 in this Legacy League. Looking to make playing your favorite combo deck much easier? Look no further than the Epic Storm Mini Token Combo Pack, which is available at theepicstorm.com/shop for $14.99. This combo token pack comes with 84 double-sided tokens. That includes our classic Storm and mana tokens, as well as fan favorites such as Goblins, Squirrels, and Slime Time Live. But that's not all. We've expanded this token pack to cover a variety of formats with new tokens. Stop on by theepicstorm.com/shop and make an easy decision to elevate your combo game. Round number 3, we're on the draw and we're facing someone that has no legacy results, so I have no idea what to expect, but I'm not going to keep a hand that just doesn't do anything, so we're going to send that one back. This hand is delightful. We will keep this and get rid of the Undercity Sewers. So this hand is great because it's a turn 1 win a number of ways, depending on what the opponent does here. And it looks like they might be on Blue Painter. Burning Wish. Interesting. So I could just go all out right here, or I could try to play a little bit more slowly, although I don't know if playing this slowly helps. I suppose if I could Burning Wish for Thoughtseize, and then I'd have to draw a land next turn, but then I could Dark Ritual, Thoughtseize, gamble for Echo. If I jam right now, I'd have to bargain the Lion's Eye Diamond on the front, and then Gaia's Will, play the Lion's Eye Diamond. Later on, I would bargain the Lotus Petal. Part of me is thinking that I should just jam. We'll play the Lion's Eye Diamond. I don't know if this hand gets better by waiting. Play the Dark Ritual. And now we'll play Beseech the Mirror. Storm is 4. We'll select Gaia's Will, which is Storm 5. That resolved. We'll play the Lion's Eye Diamond. Make 3 black. Dark Ritual, Lotus Petal, Beseech the Mirror, bargain away the Lotus Petal, Tendrils of Agony. So it looks like our opponent did not keep a hand with Force of Will. And we got it. How about that? Okay, I'll take it. Interesting. So we probably want the Boseiju and the Abrupt Decay, and then I'll try boarding down like one... Actually, we'll board out 1 Gamble and 1 Mox Opal. Let's try this. Game number 2, we're on the draw. I'm going to keep this hand. It's very similar to the hand that I mulliganed in game number 1, but I didn't know what they were playing then. Now I know that they're on a fair blue strategy, and that means that this gains a little bit of value. Additionally, the Boseiju could interact with them. So I'm going to try this out. We'll play Scalding Tarn, pass the turn. On their end step, I'm going to grab Undercity Sewers, and then we'll surveil. I'll untap Brainstorm and then maybe even use Gamble as a shuffle effect. So they'll attack with the Tamiyo Inquisitive Student. They'll create a clue token, basic island, and we'll fetch. Grab that Undercity Sewers, keep the Brainstorm, and we'll play it. Interesting. I don't think we want double Echo of Aeon, so we'll get rid of that. And our hand doesn't really work with Dark Ritual, so I'm going to get rid of the Dark Ritual here. We'll play the Taiga, and then let's gamble. That resolves, I will select Lion's Eye Diamond. Echo of Aeons to the graveyard? What? Nothing ever works for me that way. I feel like I'm fairly unlucky when it comes to gambling, and that was a particularly good one. They did not sacrifice their clue token. Interesting. Okay. So they attack again. I mean, they might have a reason. I don't want to say that it was necessarily a misplay. And now they play an Urza's Saga. 3 mana here for a stock up. Okay. And now they play a Mox Opal, which might have been the reason they didn't sacrifice. They might have had the Opal in hand the whole time. Let's play a Brainstorm. Looking for protection. We find Veil of Summer. Put back the Beseech the Mirror and a Burning Wish. We'll play Badlands. And I would like to try a Burning Wish here to go grab the sideboard Thoughtseize. And the Burning Wish resolves after a long pause. We'll select that Thoughtseize, pass the turn. So I have to hope that I'm not dead here. They have 5 mana, assuming that they play a land that taps for 1. Right now, they currently have 4 mana. The Tamiyo attacks. It triggers, creating a 3rd clue token. They play Sink in a Stupor as a land. Interesting. Okay. We'll play the Beseiju who endures as a land here. And let's fire off the Thoughtseize. My sideboard is covering up a Mox Opal. And their hand is all counter magic. How about that? Okay, so we will take the Force of Negation. Play the Veil of Summer. So now they have to hardcast Force of Will, or exile the Consign to Memory. My top card is a Beseech the Mirror, which I cannot cast. They're going to draw a card with the clue token. Interesting. I feel like this is risky, because if you don't draw a blue card, you sort of get punished. I guess you have 2 chances with 2 clue tokens, though. Metallic Rebuke, so they drew a counterspell off the clue, and I cannot pay. Alright, so I will now Burning Wish. That was best case scenario for them. We'll say yes. Grab Gamble. Pass the turn. The Urza Saga goes to the 3rd chapter. Let's see if they create a construct token or not. And they will, which is a 4/4 currently. It will get bigger, though, because they're about to grab an artifact, which is a Soul Guide Lantern, which will exile my Echo of Aeons. And then they'll attack and create more clue tokens. So this construct token is going to be large. Okay. They play out a Lotus Petal. So we know that they have Force of Will, Consign to Memory. They draw a card off a clue token. They play Mishra's Bauble. Now a Mox Opal. So we know all 3 cards in their hand. They draw a card off Bauble, so they have 1 unknown. I will play Song of Creation. Sorry, I have to tap that for a blue. Undo. Red, green. Song of Creation. I imagine this eats a counterspell. They're adding 2 mana here. I guess they're going to draw with a clue in response. Up to 5 cards in hand now. Force of Will, exiling Consign to Memory. Sure. We will pass. They're at 16. So the Beseech the Mirror in my hand can grab a Gaia's Will, but there's a Soul Guide Lantern on the battlefield. There's no Song of Creation left in the deck anymore, so if you're going to make that line, then Beseech the Mirror needs to be lethal. Our opponent attacks, and then post-combat, they play a Thoughtcast, flipping over the Tamiyo. They're up to 3 cards in hand again. We know it's Force of Will, and then 2 unknown cards. They sacrifice a clue, and another Thoughtcast. Okay. A lot of counter magic. And now they draw off the Bauble, a Chrome Mox. So I could hardcast Beseech the Mirror. It gets forced. And then we could try to Echo. I guess that's the game plan here. We'll play Lion's Eye Diamond. Play Mox Opal. Play Chrome Mox. No imprint. We'll tap for black. Tap for black. And we will Beseech the Mirror with Bargain. Sacrifice this Chrome Mox. I'm hoping that this gets countered. And if it doesn't, I think we have to grab like Veil of Summer. A Force of Negation. So we know that they're still holding Force of Will. And then next turn they can get back a counter magic off of Tamio. We can just go to game 3. They drew a lot of free counter magic. Holy moly. All right, so we're just going to resubmit. I like the setup that we have. We just need to, draw a little bit better, hope that they don't have so much free counter magic. Game number 3, we're on the play. Wow, I mean, this hand is good. We will keep. I mean, we saw how much free counter magic they have, though. We'll play Verdant Catacombs, play the Lion's Eye Diamond, we'll play Lotus Petal, Mox Opal, try a Dark Ritual. We're going to just jam here. Grab Badlands, Beseech the Mirror, bargain away the Mox Opal. They have Force of Will. I will play Gamble. We'll select Echo of Aeons, and we'll spin. Storm is 8. Resolves. I think I'm going to just pass. I could play out the artifacts, but I'd rather keep them for Storm. It doesn't really do me a whole lot of good. And next turn we could even spin the wheel again with Thoughtseize trying to clear the way. I guess the one upside of playing out Lion's Eye Diamond and Lotus Petal is Consigned to Memory doesn't counter them. They play an Urza Saga, okay. Soul Guide Lantern, you've got it. We'll take a draw, another diamond. I love that. Play Thoughtseize. Force of Negation is the only card we care about here, so we'll take that. Play the Lotus Petal. Lion's Eye Diamond. Lion's Eye Diamond. And now we'll gamble. Select Echo of Aeons. We'll add 3 blue, 3 black. Flashback the Echo, floating 1 blue and 2 black. Storm is 6. Brutal! So many lands! Wow. That's so many lands. So if we want to pray that the opponent didn't open up anything, I could go Lion's Eye Diamond, Beseech the Mirror for Song of Creation. I don't know if I'm going to be able to use this Beseech the Mirror later, so part of me is like, that might be the best option I have. We'll play the Lion's Eye Diamond, because like, when am I going to be able to play this Beseech the Mirror and protect it later? And I'm short on Storm for Natural Tendrils, so we'll play the Beseech, grab Song of Creation, we'll play the song. Please no free counter magic. Please. Hey, let's go. So now I can Veil of Summer and hope to hit 0 mana artifacts. Veil of Summer. We've already played both of our lands this turn. Well, there's 1 0 mana artifact. We'll play Chrome Mox. Okay, so now we're just 1 mana away from victory. Dark Ritual. And that's the game. Dark Ritual. Ooh, we drew a Lotus Petal. We'll play out the Lotus Petal. Another Dark Ritual, okay. I mean, I could win from here, but I'm going to keep casting spells, because what if our opponent's a crazy person, right? Like, what if they're sitting on a Mindbreak Trap? So we might as well draw until we hit the Thoughtseize. And they didn't hit it. All right, now I'll play the Tendrils of Agony and close out this match. The deck with all those free counter magics didn't have a single one, and we were able to steal game number 3. The opponent says good games and then exiles my graveyard. Understandable, I'll accept it. If you would like to exile my graveyard and I get a match win, as long as I get the win, that's all that really matters to me. So we're 3-0 with 2 rounds left to go. If you're still watching, make sure to give this video a like, comment, and subscribe. While you're near the description, here's a reminder to use our affiliate links if you're going to make a purchase from Amazon, Card Hoarder, or TCG Player. Just above those affiliate links, you'll find our social channels. Make sure to join those to connect with us. For round number 4, we're on the draw, and our opponent's Goldfish history is Gruul Initiative and then Green-White Enchantress. So no matter what we're facing here, this hand that doesn't play Magic is not good enough, so we're going to send it back. So this hand is a turn 2 Echo of Aeons with no mana floating. Is that better than going to 5? I guess if they're on Initiative, if you draw a second land, you have Burning Wish and a Pulverize. So we will get rid of the Tendrils of Agony. They play a Forest and Utopia Sprawl. So this is probably Enchantress. And they name white, so it's definitely Enchantress. Another Lion's Eye Diamond. That's great for Echo of Aeons. Speaking of which, hi-oh. Wait, did I put it on? Oh, I'm a dummy. I put it on top. I thought I would put it to the graveyard. I was about to start spinning, and I was like, where is it? Oh, no, I hope that doesn't bite me in the butt. And it does! No! Oh, wow. The accidental put on top might cost me here. That's crazy. I do have Reverent Silence in my sideboard. So I can Burning Wish for Reverent Silence. Let's gamble. Hopefully I discard a gamble here. We'll grab a Scalding Tarn. I discard a Lion's Eye Diamond. That's unfortunate, but I will accept it. They play Sarah's Sanctum. Helm of Obedience! Wow! Is that not the best Enchantress draw you've ever seen, or what? Alright, so, bummer. My poor play cost me there. We'll take out the Veil of Summers, bring in the Besiju, the Abrupt Decay, Thoughtseize, Galvanic Relay, and hit submit. I can't believe I accidentally put the Echo on top there. If I lose this match because of that, I'm going to be so sad. On the play. I don't think that this hand's fast enough. This is, we'll keep. Bottom the Brainstorm. Actually, let's bottom the Dark Ritual. Leyline of Sanctity. Play Mox Opal. Play Lion's Eye Diamond. Gamble. Even if they have a Force of Vigor, I could just make mana in response. And now we'll spin the wheel. I'm going to be really upset if I lose this because I was an idiot and accidentally put the card on top. We'll play Lotus Petal. Play the Lion's Eye Diamond. And then I'm going to Brainstorm. See if I can get a little more juice here. That's almost a win. So we're going to put 2 cards back. Sacrifice the Petal. Play Dark Ritual. Lion's Eye Diamond. We'll make 3 blue. 3 red. Spin with the Echo. Floating 6 mana. Storm is 10. So this is not a win, but it's pretty close. Keep in mind that there is a Leyline of Sanctity on the table. So I can't just gamble for Tendrils of Agony. I'll Brainstorm. Put back 2 lands. Dark Ritual. I mean, I could just empty the Warrens for 20 plus here. I don't know if they can beat 20 Goblins on turn 1. I mean, our opponent's deck list is... I guess I'll bring over their deck list. Their last 5-0. So who knows if they're still playing the same deck list. I mean, this was from February 11th. So it's been a little bit. But there's no Elephant Grass anywhere, which is the card I would be looking for here. So I'm going to play Empty the Warrens, I believe. Alternatively, I could Beseech the Mirror for Song of Creation, but if they've been sitting on a Force of Vigor, I get punished. So I think I'm just going to empty the Warrens. And they concede. Okay. I will submit. We've opened up a hand that combos on turn 1. I will keep. Leyline of Sanctity is back. Forest. Wild Growth. Brainstorm. So I could Echo of Aeons right now, which is a fine play. I'd have 2 mana floating. Yeah, that's probably worth it. We'll play the Lotus Petal. It's better than waiting a turn to Brainstorm, I think. Grab Badlands. Dark Ritual. We'll play the Burning Wish. Grab Echo of Aeons. And now we're going to cast the Echo floating 2 mana. Storm is 5. So this Echo of Aeons again. We'll play Lotus Petal. Play Mox Opal. Play Lion's Eye Diamond. Tap for a red. We'll play another Mox Opal. Tap for another red. Play another Mox Opal. And now we'll gamble. Grab another Echo of Aeons. Tap for black. We'll make 3 blue. Spin the wheel on Echo again. Storm is 12. So this doesn't win, but I could Galvanic Relay for a bunch. And I think that's okay. Play the Lotus Petal. Play Chromox. We'll imprint Gaia's Will. And Galvanic Relay for 15. Better than a 1 of Veil of Summer here, which is what the alternative would have been. My updated Cyborg Guide does have this plan in it, by the way. It's something I came up with in last month's Cyborg Guide. So what we'd be worried about now from the opponent is something like a Deafening Silence, Stony Silence, Solitary Confinement. All of those things are covered here by the Abrupt Decay. They fetch with the Windswept Teeth. Argothian Enchantress, that's fine. Utopia Sprawl, that's okay. And they're passing. So this should be a pretty easy win for us. Let's do the free thing first. I say that a lot in my tutoring sessions. Sometimes people get option paralysis. And something I like to say is just do the free thing, which is take the easiest action. We're going to Burning Wish for Reverend Silence. Also, this feels just wrong. Like, this card isn't in here to annihilate Enchantress, but it's going to. So, spell 2, we're getting rid of their Leyline of Sanctity, so that way, even if they had a Mindbreak Trap, they couldn't play it. And now we'll play Dark Ritual, Thoughtseize from hand, and they didn't have much. We'll take this, I guess. We'll play Lion's Eye Diamond. Storm is 6, they're at 25. We'll play a Brainstorm. Put back the Scalding Tarn and Tendrils of Agony. This way I can beseech the mirror from exile into the main deck copy of Tendrils of Agony. We'll imprint the Abrupt Decay. Storm is 9 and they have 25 life. And they conceded the match. Alright, well, we got the match win. My punt in game number 1 did not cost me. And now we're 4-0, about to play for the trophy. Let's see if we can grab it in match number 5. Want early access to articles at theepicstorm.com? Become a member of our Patreon to get articles 7 days early, on top of other sweet benefits, and help us pay our website team. You can sign up at patreon.com/theepicstorm. For the trophy, match number 5, we're on the draw. I know that this hand seems bad, but I'm going to keep it. Our opponent has been playing a lot of what I would consider to be Tony Scapone decks with Paradoxical Outcome, Grim Monolith, Coveted Jewel, things like that. I don't know what they're playing today, but against those strategies, this hand might be a little bit slow, but it's able to play Magic rather than mulliganing into something that is hyper fast and loses to a Force of Will. So they use a turn 1 Mishra's Bauble, Ancient Tomb, Lotus Petal, 2 cards left, 3 mana for a turn 1 Stock Up. You got it. 2 cards for 2 cards. They put 2 cards to hand, and then they find another Mishra's Bauble, so they'll draw 2 random cards off the top rope. And they do that in my upkeep. Yep. Lion's Eye Diamond, not a bad draw. I'm just going to play the Commercial District here on the first turn. Another Beseech the Mirror, that can go to the graveyard. Pass. Urza's Saga. Another Mishra's Bauble. Okay. Now they're about to drop to 4 cards. Veil of Summer. So if I play Veil of Summer, I'm actually... Hold on, I could have a win here. Okay. So I say could because it's not a definite, but I might be able to Brainstorm Trick into a win here. So we'll play the Brainstorm. Put back Guy's Will plus the Beseech the Mirror. And now let's play Veil of Summer. See if they respond. They don't. So now I can play Lion's Eye Diamond. Play Lion's Eye Diamond. We'll play Lotus Petal. Play the Chrome Mox. And the reason I call it the Brainstorm Trick is I put that Beseech the Mirror on top of the deck, and now I'm going to Brainstorm into it. So I'm going to hold control, and now I'm going to add 3 black. We'll put back the Guy's Will and the Dark Ritual. I'll now cast Beseech the Mirror, bargain away the Chrome Mox. Storm is 8. We'll grab another Beseech the Mirror. I don't even need to use the graveyard here. Sacrifice the Lion's Eye Diamond. And we're 1 game away from a trophy. Let's go. I don't think we're even supposed to sideboard. I'm just going to send back the same 75 and just try to do my thing. Game number 2. I think I'm going to keep this hand, but I'm a little skeptical. My fear with this hand is that I don't have protection against a deck with Force of Will, possibly Force of Negations, and I need protection. But I do have Thoughtseize and Veil of Summer, Burning Wish into the sideboard Thoughtseize, or if we play it a little slower, I might be able to just hardcast the Song of Creation. So there's a lot of play to be had here. They take a mulligan to 5. Turn 1, Urza's Saga. And they just pass. Okay. Beseech the Mirror. I'm going to just play it slow. We'll pass. Urza's Saga goes to the 2nd chapter. Ancient Tomb. Burning Wish. Okay. Let's play the Chrome Mox. Imprint Guy's Will. And now we'll play the Burning Wish. So having drawn both the Guy's Will and the Song of Creation, the Beseech the Mirror isn't particularly good. We'll grab Thoughtseize. So I don't really plan on using the Beseech the Mirror this game. It's just going to exile to the Chrome Mox. And then that's how we get our black mana. And that's why I didn't play the Chrome Mox exiling Beseech the Mirror this turn, is because what if our opponent got a Haywire Might? Or something else and my Chrome Mox went away? There's no reason to expose my black mana here. They go to 16. They grab a Mox Opal. Another Ancient Tomb. Disruptor Flute. Okay. 3 cards in their hand. They name the Thoughtseize. That's fine. Ouch. I go to 16. We draw Echo. So I'll play the Lion's Eye Diamond. Let's gamble here. We'll grab Veil of Summer. Discards Thoughtseize. We'll play Chrome Mox. We'll imprint Song of Creation, I think, because it gives me the best colors post-Echo. And now we'll play the Veil of Summer. The Veil of Summer resolves. And now we're going to spin the wheel on Echo of Aeons. Storm is 5. Surgical Extraction on Lion's Eye Diamond. That hurts a little, but I'm still capable of winning. Surgical Extraction resolves. Now we're back to Echo of Aeons. I'm going to need a very good brainstorm here, I think. I think I have to find Dark Ritual. We'll play the brainstorm. It's either Dark Ritual or like double Lotus Petal or Lotus Petal plus Mox Opal or Chrome Mox. Like basically I just need double or exactly Dark Ritual. We'll play the brainstorm. I did not find it. Okay, so I'm not dead yet. There's still a chance. We'll put back the Thoughtseize and the Commercial District. I could always brainstorm now into Dark Ritual plus a 0. Let's play brainstorm. I hit the Dark Ritual, but I didn't hit the 0. I think I'm dead. Bummer. Pass the turn. I mean, theoretically, there's a chance I could live, but all my opponent has to do here is play 4 artifacts. And they have 7 cards in hand. They're about to draw up to 8. There's 1. They play a stock up. 3 artifacts kills me. There's a Grim Monolith, Lotus Petal, and the One Ring. So that'll do it. We'll go to game number 3. No changes from me. I just need to get the job done. My draws were actually somewhat okay. I mean, I don't want to complain about them, but we didn't get the job done. So now I have to in game number 3 if we want that trophy. And I do. So let's try to win. On the play. Sure, we'll keep. If I draw an artifact that's like a Chrome Mox or another Lion's Eye Diamond, we have a deterministic turn 2. I'll fetch with the Scalding Tarn, grab Underground Sea, and we'll play Thoughtseize. So they have a turn 1 the One Ring, or that's pretty much it. It's turn 1 One Ring. I think we just take that, right? We'll take the One Ring. Pass the turn. They play Mishra's Bauble. They look at my top card. They play the Ancient Tomb. They drew Lotus Petals, so that means that they get to play turn 1 stock up again. Very good for them. So maybe I'm supposed to play it a little slower. We'll play Burning Wish. Yes. Grab the sideboard Thoughtseize. Pass the turn. They play Grim Monolith, the Seat, so I no longer know any of the cards in their hand. And now they just pass. So this allows them to hardcast Force of Will. The Echo was a good draw. Let's try Thoughtseize. Hydroblast, Force of Will. So I can Echo here, or I can just leave them with a hand that really doesn't do anything. I think I'm going to pass because I'm 1 mana away from a deterministic Beseech the Mirror Guys will win. They play a Seat. We'll fetch. Grab the Undercity Sewers. And that'll do it. As long as our opponent didn't draw another card that stops me. We'll play Lion's Eye Diamond. Mox Opal. Dark Ritual. Beseech the Mirror with Bargain. Sacrifice the Mox Opal. They drew a Force of Will. Okay. So I could pass. Or I can Echo right now. I think I'm going to pass. So that way next turn I can Echo with more mana available. Mox Opal, we'll play that. We'll add 3 blue. Echo of Aeon, Storm 2. Okay, this is a little weird. I think I would like to start by playing Thoughtseize. That is not a great hand for them. They can play Sink into Stupor. I don't know if they want to, but they could. I think we'll take the stock up. I will play Commercial District. Keep the Lotus Petal on top. Pass the turn. They untap the Grim Monolith. They drew the One Ring. Alright, so they've had some fortunate draw steps so far. So now if I want to win, I have to win using Song of Creation. They milled over a Force of Will. And they play the Sink into Stupor as a land now. So we're going to draw the Lotus Petal. I'll fetch out my last fetchable land down to 11. We'll play Veil of Summer. They drew Force of Will. Oh my. So they drew the One Ring for turn, and then they drew Force of Will off the One Ring. So they have Aetherflux Reservoir, Pyroblast, Pyrite Spellbomb. Okay. I will gamble. I think I need to grab Beseech the Mirror here. We win. The Beseech flip. So I can now Beseech the Mirror. But I can't make mana with the Mox Opal, so I think I'm supposed to pass the turn, but if they draw into more counter magic, I lose. And I can't get Song because they're sitting on Pyroblast. And they have the One Ring protection. So I'm just trying to think through this right now. If I play out Lotus Petal and bargain sacrificing the Mox Opal, I can then play 2 petals from the graveyard and the Mox Opal, make mana, play the other Mox Opal, make mana again. But then that leaves me with only 4 mana. Yeah, I have to just pass the turn. So now the One Ring puts them to 9. They draw 2 cards. They can use the Emery to replay the Mishra's Bauble, which is, I imagine, is going to happen here. They play Grim Monolith down to 7 life. Aetherflux Reservoir. They play Lotus Petal. This will gain them some life. They activate the Emery for the Mishra's Bauble. Now they're up to 14. They look at my top card. They played another land. Pyrite Spellbomb. They're at 17 now. So their last card in hand is Pyroblast. So they have Pyroblast plus 1 unknown card off of this Mishra's Bauble. Oh no, they drew a card off the Spellbomb, so they have 3 unknown. They have 2 unknowns. Thoughtseize was an incredible draw there. Okay. So we'll play the Thoughtseize. They drew another Blast. Play out the Lotus Petal. Play Mox Opal. I think we have it. I have to sacrifice the Petal for a black. We're going to Beseech the Mirror with Bargain. Grab Guy's Will. We'll play the Guy's Will. They can gain 1 life off of the Aetherflux Reservoir. So now we'll play Lotus Petal. Play Lotus Petal. Play Mox Opal. Tap that Mox Opal for a black. We'll play the other one. Play out the Verdant Catacombs. We'll make 4 mana, and now we'll Beseech the Mirror with Bargain, sacrifice the Mox Opal, storm 10. I'll grab another Beseech the Mirror. Play it with Bargain. Grab Tendrils of Agony. And Tendrils them. So, assuming that I'm understanding this correctly, they can play the Pyroblast, they can gain 1 going up to 18, but then they still take 24. And we got the 5-0. How about that? Sweet. There we are. Trophy greatness. Okay, so... Woo! We got the trophy. Yeah, I mean, I think the Epic Storm is fine. I said that in the beginning of this video. It's just the fact that I haven't loved Legacy recently. And I don't think a 5-0 is going to change that. It's just... I don't find the play patterns of the previous format super fun. Maybe with the banning, something changes. That's entirely possible. I'm just a little pessimistic right now. I just don't love the forced check nature of the format, and that's coming from someone that is the combo player. And some of you might just be saying, quit whining, you just 5-0'd, whatever. I understand. I really do get how it looks. It's just, I don't love Oops All Spells being a top 3 deck. Like, I don't find that play pattern very fun. I would love it if we return to a more blue-oriented metagame, but beggars can't be choosers, and when the format is like this, you have to adapt, which is what I did today, featuring 3 Thoughtseize, 4 Leyline of the Void. The Leyline shined in the early matchups, Thoughtseize shined later versus some of those stock-up strategies, as I expected in the deck tech. So thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and as always, keep storming. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to support the channel. After you do that, open up our description where you can find all of our social media networks, including our Discord, where you can discuss today's deck in that Discord with me and tons of other combo masterminds. It's absolutely free to join, and it's certainly worth your while.